Alaska cruises are incredible, but they're also where people make the most costly mistakes. Booking the wrong cabin, overpaying for flights, missing out on bucket list excursions, even packing the wrong clothing and essentials. It's easy to mess up if you're not prepared. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now I have to tell you, when I went to Alaska the first time, I thought I would end up doing it just once, but I loved Alaska so much that we are doing it again this year. And it really made me think about the mistakes that we made, as well as some of the mistakes that I have heard from other cruisers. And one thing I know for sure is that if you're prepared, you will have a better Alaskan cruise. Now, I wish I could keep this video to 10 tips, but truthfully, there are more things to cover. Now, to keep us on track, I did divide this video up into categories, and I promise you, every single one of these tips or mistakes to avoid is important. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Number one, waiting to the last minute to book your Alaska cruise. And I have to tell you, it's not even for the reason that you might think. Now, of course, the earlier that you book your Alaska cruise, most of the time it is going to be the least expensive. But something a lot of people don't think about, and I didn't think about because yes, I did make this mistake this year, is that when you wait a little while to book your Alaska cruise, the flights become more expensive. As I was looking at my Alaska cruise early on, the flights were actually a few $100s per person less. So it is always better for you to book in advance, get your flight settled, get your hotel booked, and overall, you're going to find that there's a savings. And a little tip for first-time cruisers, if the price of your cruise decreases before the final payment, most of the time the cruise line will honor that lower price. Number two, don't loaf on booking your Alaska shore excursions. It's not like the Caribbean, it's not like the Bahamas. These genuinely do book up. And there are a lot of like bucket list excursions that people want to do. So if you're somebody who wants to take a helicopter onto the glacier, or you want to do dog sledding on the glacier, those are excursions that really there aren't that many of them. And even though they are pricey, they probably will be worth it for you. Now, I do have a little bit of a tip. Firstly, don't feel like you have to do an excursion in every single port. So a good way to stretch your budget is to choose one or two excursions and save one port for visiting on your own. Number three, not checking the physical requirements of the different excursions. Now, we were on a couple of excursions, and I have to say, in some cases, they were a little bit more strenuous than I thought. Honestly, we were still fine, but we did a really nice kayaking and jeep excursion. And the kayaking, I guess with the wind that we had on the lake, it was genuinely more strenuous than we thought. Now, in some cases, you might find excursions that really don't seem like they're strenuous at all. They're walks through the trails, but keep in mind that a lot of times that is going to be a trail where there may be branches. So you have to think about if there's uneven footing, how comfortable are you and how is your balance? You definitely don't want to get hurt during an excursion of your cruise. All right, this next one might be considered a little bit controversial, but a mistake is not booking a balcony cabin. Now, of course, you can enjoy your cruise whether you're in an ocean view or in an inside cabin, but an Alaska cruise is one time that I can tell you I really enjoyed that balcony. Not only going out on the balcony, that in itself is enjoyable, but the scenery, just even sitting in my bed, looking out, sitting on the couch, looking out at that scenery that was continuously changing, or even when we were in the cruise port, when we were in Glacier Bay. Honestly, when I think about many of the memories that I have from that cruise, a lot of it had to do with that incredible scenery from my balcony. Now, please let me know if you've been on an Alaskan cruise, or if you're taking an Alaskan cruise, what do you think about a balcony cabin? I've heard other people say a good compromise is actually an ocean view cabin, because you're still going to get all of those views. And truthfully, if you're not going to spend a lot of time on your balcony anyway, that could be a good idea. Choosing the wrong cruise line, the wrong cruise ship, or the wrong itinerary. Now, all of these really matter. And I guess this is similar to the Caribbean. You really want to think about what is the experience that you want to have. Now, some little tips is look at the itinerary itself and how long you are spending in a cruise port of call. That's a good way to kind of compare cruises. The other thing you want to look at is what are the amenities on the cruise ship. If you're cruising with kids, there's a good chance you're going to want some things for the kids to do on sea days. That might include water slides, that might include a little bit more games and bells and whistles on the cruise ship. If you're cruising adults only, you may prefer a more enrichment focused cruise. Now, the first time that we did an Alaska cruise, we sailed with Holland America, had an absolutely wonderful time. And this next cruise is going to be with Princess. Please let me know if you do have an Alaskan cruise, which cruise line or ship are you sailing with? Not booking with a travel agent. Now, of course, you can book directly with a cruise line, but if you are wondering which cruise line, which cruise ship is best for you, an independent travel agent can really help you to navigate your choices, and most of the time, it's not going to cost you anything extra. Not researching wildlife seasons. Now, I have to say, this is not anything that I ever researched before my first cruise, but one of my dreams in Alaska was to see whales. Well, what happened? We had a cruise that was early in May, and it was absolutely beautiful, by the way. But one of the first things that we heard when we did a whale watching excursion, which did guarantee a whale sighting, by the way, but they told us that it had only been 1 week that they actually started to see whales again. And they did let us know that May wasn't the best time to see whales. And instead, June through August would have been much better. Now, we did see a little bit of a whale, but had I cruised just a little bit later, I think it probably would have been a better experience. Now, fun fact, if you want to see bears, hopefully not too up close, but their season is July to August during salmon runs. And the northern lights are in September, although this is mainly inland or in late season sailings. By the way, if you're planning your Alaska cruise and you want to make sure that you don't forget a thing, I do have the LifeWell Cruised Ultimate Cruise Planner. Now, the LifeWell Cruised Ultimate Cruise Planner is a 47-page downloadable printable cruise planner that will help you to stay organized from the time that you book your cruise through embarkation and disembarkation. Now, the LifeWell Cruised Ultimate Cruise Planner includes, of course, an Alaska cruise packing list, but beyond this, it includes shore excursion planning forms, budget planning forms, cruise outfit planning forms, and more. And the best part is you can print out only the pages that you need for as many cruises as you go on. Now, I'll leave all of the information about the LifeWell Cruise Ultimate Cruise Planner linked down below in the description of this video in case you want to check it out. Not flying in 2 days before. Now, even though I always say 1 day before when you're going on a cruise, in my opinion, if you're going to Alaska, unless you're living really quite close to Vancouver or Seattle or wherever your cruise is leaving from, there's a good chance that you're not only going to want to be there 1 day before, there's a good chance that you are going to encounter a time change. Now, when we went to Vancouver last time, there was a 3-hour time difference. We're heading to Seattle this time. There will also be a 3-hour time difference for us. We're on the Eastern time zone. And then once you get into Alaska, there's an additional hour. By arriving 2 days before, you acclimate to that. And honestly, Seattle, and I would say in particular, Vancouver, are so well worth visiting. Now, this does lead me to the next mistake. If you are heading into Vancouver before your cruise, you may have heard that the embarkation port gets a little busy. So I have a little tip here. It is more than a little busy. It is more like when you go to the airport. So just expect that it can be long. It can take an hour to an hour and a half to board your cruise ship. And maybe it will be less, and that will be good news. But if you're prepared, if you have the right mindset, you are not going to be overly bothered. That being said, Vancouver is an absolutely incredible city, and it's a great place to take a tour, go out to the restaurants, or even explore on your own. Now, by the way, at the end of this video, I'll include my Alaska cruise playlist, and that includes my Vancouver port guide, including the hotel we stayed at, some of the restaurants we ate at, and the tour we took. Okay, let's talk packing mistakes and packing regrets. Not packing the right clothing. Now, there are a few things that I have in mind when I say this. Firstly, outerwear. It is really important to bring rain gear, and it can be lightweight rain gear, poncho, rain jackets with hoods. Just expect rain. If it doesn't rain, you are lucky. Now, Alaska weather is unpredictable, and ask anybody who's gone, you just don't know what you're going to get. So the key is layers. Now, what do layers mean? Just think t-shirt over your t-shirt, a fleece or some sort of sweatshirt, ideally maybe with a zip so that you can open it up if you need to, and a lightweight jacket on top of that. Now, I think during any time it's a good idea to bring a hat, especially if you're glacier viewing. It's going to be cooler by about 10 degrees in those areas. Now, a mistake that I made that I'll probably make again is bringing white sneakers. So don't expect white sneakers. If you bring them, to stay white. Again, I'll probably still bring them, but I won't get a new pair right before I go. And many people do bring waterproof hiking shoes. This is a really good idea because they're going to prevent you from slipping. And if it is a rainy day, it's going to keep your feet dry too. Overpacking formal wear. Now, I know a lot of people wonder, what do I pack in terms of what to wear for an Alaskan cruise? Now, again, I'm going to have a playlist at the end of this video, so you're going to find what to wear, what to pack, all of that in it. But I'll also do a new video of what I'm packing this year because I'm heading just a little bit later to Alaska this year. But one thing that you don't need to worry about is bringing overly dressy or formal clothing. Now, a lot of cruise lines are still going to have a formal night, so there's nothing wrong with that. You can bring a suit, you can bring a nice cocktail dress, but it is a little bit less dressy than Caribbean and Mediterranean cruises. And the rest of the evenings, just think restaurant style, the way you might dress at home. People are generally more casual on Alaskan cruises. Now, other things that people forget and regret are bug spray. Now, I have to say, when we went in May, we were pretty lucky because even though we brought bug spray, we were just maybe a week or two earlier than the really bad mosquitoes. But we have been told it gets really bad in Alaska. So make sure that you do bring mosquito spray and bring sunscreen as well. You know, you don't think about it maybe because it's not the Caribbean, but it is really still important. And you might be surprised that you can get sunburned not only on sunny days, but even on cloudy days with the reflection of the snow. Now, it's a mistake not to pack swimwear, so make sure that you do bring at least one bathing suit. You know what? Maybe you'll go in the pool. A lot of times there is an indoor pool, not always, but maybe you'll go in the pool. Maybe you'll go in the hot tub. Maybe you'll go to the thermal spa and you'll want to have that with you. And don't make the mistake that I made where I didn't bring a little pool or beach bag. This is something that is pretty important. If you do head to the pool on your cruise, you're going to want to have this. Not being prepared for the long days of sunlight. Now, personally, I love the longer days of sunlight, but it can actually mess with your sleep. At the time that we are going, I looked this up and the sun is going to set somewhere around 11:30 and it's going to rise somewhere around 4 a.m. So something that I am doing this time, I didn't do it last time and I did regret it, is I am bringing a sleep mask. Forgetting binoculars. Now, if there is one essential that you need for the cruise ship itself, and honestly, bring this on excursions as well, binoculars. Even when we were on an excursion, we saw a bald eagle. So cool. And, you know, having your binoculars are really handy. Or when you're whale watching. Now, you can get travel binoculars that are really not very expensive, very lightweight. I will leave links down in the description below this video so you can pick up anything that you might need for your Alaskan cruise. And you may even want to consider upgrading to a higher quality binocular as well. Missing out on glacier viewing day. Now, it might be surprising, but people really do get prepared for glacier viewing day. This means that they're going to be out on the bow of the ship. If it opens, they're going to be out very early, maybe as early as 6 a.m. Or they're going to be staking their spots at some of those viewing areas that are indoors on the cruise ship. And it doesn't mean that you have to do this, but you definitely want to make sure that you do get out there, that you do enjoy the day. But I will give you a little tip. Although everybody is out there very early, once, you know, lunch hour comes around or so, people start to head inside and you're still going to be glacier viewing. So don't think if you didn't get that prime spot in the morning that you won't have a chance. You'll get it in the afternoon instead. Skipping the onboard enrichment activities. Now, something that was really cool when we were on our cruise is the fact that they actually had rangers come onto our cruise ship and they were able to let us know some of the things that we were seeing. They could even tell us, like when there was a bear that was on one of the glaciers. They gave us a lot of information. It was really interesting. But there are also going to be enrichment lectures during your cruise. Well, it is going to depend on the cruise, but make sure that you do check your daily planner so that you don't miss out on anything. Not trying the local foods and going to some of the local restaurants. Now, it can be tempting to go back to the cruise ship and eat on the cruise ship because let's face it, Alaska is a little bit expensive, even when it comes to restaurants. But I do think it is a great way to experience that cruise port, even if just for the day. Now, when you're in Skagway, a great place to go is Skagway Brewing Company. They actually brew their own beer, including the Spruce Tip Ale. Now, when you're in Juneau, you can go to Tracy's Crab Shack. It was one of my regrets. We did a really nice excursion in Juneau, but it was several hours, so it meant that we didn't have time to stop, and I would have loved to go there. Now, if you're a repeat Alaskan cruiser, I have a favor to ask you. Would you mind please leaving your recommendations for restaurants in Alaska in any of the different ports? Please leave them down in the comments below, because I know it's going to be a great resource not only for me but for other people as well. Not bringing your best camera equipment. Now, for anybody who's a photographer, an amateur photographer, this is the one place that you're going to want to bring the camera, the zoom lens, all of the different things. You are really going to enjoy it. I have to say, even for me, I just use an iPhone, and truly an iPhone, even the best one, just doesn't capture the depth of the beauty of Alaska well enough. Assuming Alaska is just for seniors. Now, I've often heard that Alaska is for old people. And yes, it is generally an older demographic in Alaska than in the Caribbean. However, it might surprise you, but Alaska cruisers really attract people of all ages. And in fact, there are many families or multi-generational groups that go, especially during the summer months when the kids are out of school. Assuming the internet on Alaska cruises is going to be terrible. Now, if you've watched any of these types of videos before, especially if they're from a couple of years ago, the thing that everybody would say is that the internet is just really bad in Alaska. And it's not that that was a lie, it's just that things are changing. So if you think that the internet is going to be absolutely awful, well, it's not going to be like on land. Due to Starlink and also improvements on cruises, it is much better than before. Skipping the indoor pools and the thermal suite. Now, especially on sea days, it is such a great way to spend time, not only at an indoor pool if you have that on your cruise ship, but maybe even the thermal suite. Honestly, you're going to have such incredible scenery, floor to ceiling windows, so relaxing. So don't think you have to just walk around the cruise ship on those sea days. You can actually do that instead, and it might just be one of the best days you have on your cruise. Not being prepared for potential seasickness. Now, I think that this is a mistake a lot of people make on any cruise, but in Alaska, there is always the potential. It's usually pretty smooth sailing, but there is the potential to have rougher seas, and you want to make sure that you do prevent that. You might want to prevent that by having a patch behind your ear. You might want to prevent that with over-the-counter medications like Bonine or Dramamine, or a sea-band or a relief band on your wrist. The one thing that you don't want to do is let seasickness take a hold of you, because it truly can ruin your day and even potentially ruin your cruise. Now, I'm going to leave all of the information about the LifeWell Cruise Ultimate Cruise Planner down below in the description of this video, and I'll leave that Alaska cruise playlist right after this, and I'd love to hear from you. Please let me know your tips, your questions, and when is your Alaska cruise? Please let me know down in the comments below. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.